We are sharing good news. We breaking down sound in the name Nipsey Hussle. Why? Because we can learn some powerful life lessons that inspire us, uplift us, and motivate us to live the best part of ourselves. We can learn some life lessons from Nipsey. How so? He was a man that showed love for himself, his family, and his people. And as a woman, when a black man shows love for family, especially his children, it causes me to love me some Nipsey. You hear me? Anytime we have a black man that does more than talk the talk and walk the walk, motivated by love, the spirit of that man is alive. That man is to be celebrated for today and future generations, especially for our young black boys and girls. Nipsey Hussle, the name of a man who left his mark on humanity, left his footprint deep in the earth. And we can learn so much about the man, his journey, and our journey just by studying and breaking down the sound of his name. You might be saying, so what? Well, I want to ask you a question. Do you know what your name says about you? Just think, your name identifies you, describes you. Your name is your nature. My name is Dorothy J, and I am a name reader. And I'm here to help you to see that sounds like energy is a living part of matter. And sounds and names have the power to shape matter and shape what matters to us. I know it sounds strange. You never heard of it, right? But before Nipsey, you never heard of paying $100 for a CD of mixtapes. So today you might hear something that you have never heard of before. But guess what? It's time for all of us to share good news and share our unique voice. So today I'm happy to lift up my voice and share with you my gift of reading names. And with the help of the Creator, we're going to learn how the sound in Nipsey's name shaped and transformed his life path and how we can transform our life just like Nipsey. Why? It's because everybody, including you and me, and everything on this earth has a name. Breaking down sound in the name of Nipsey Hussle can teach us some great lessons about life and how one person can make a difference in the lives of many, especially when motivated by love. What motivates you? What drives you? What is your purpose? All of us were born on earth at this time for a purpose that is uniquely designed for us to do. It's a tough road to finding out why God put us here. But we will if we learn some life lessons. By introducing and breaking down the sound in Nipsey's name, I hope to enlighten you and let you know that just like Nipsey, each of us can make an impact and start a revolution of transformation in this marathon called life. Well, let us look at it. The sound Nipsey has two sounds, Nip and C. We know Nip is another name for Nipsey. And the word C has to do with seeing with the eyes. As a matter of fact, the name Nipsey ends with the letters E-Y, which is ruled the word E-Y-E-I. The first four letters spell N-I-P-S, which is sounded as nips, plural, meaning more than one nip, or nips, N-I-P apostrophe S, meaning belonging to nip. So N-I-P apostrophe S-E-Y can be sounded as nips I. We learned in English class that apostrophe signifies ownership. One thing for sure, as Nip's life unfolded, he took ownership for his eyes, meaning his vision. Yes, Nip's vision rose above a slave mentality. His vision was ownership, business ownership. Did he make it a reality? Yes, just think. Nip's vision of business ownership became a reality for Nip, influenced by the sound of Nip's I in his name. What else can we learn about the word nip? Well, it means a small amount of alcohol and also means to cut off or stop the progress of. That lets us know that Nip probably took nips of alcohol in his life. I mean, who hasn't? One thing for sure, with his strong mind and his vision, he was motivated, grinding in this discipline. So if too much alcohol became a problem in his life, the sound of Nip in his name empowered him to nip it in the bud. Think about this. If you or me are facing any negative problem that blocks the progress of our lives, you have the power, we have the power to overcome it and nip it in the bud. Let us continue. So what can we learn when we look at the full name, Nipsey Hussle? Please remember, sounds in our name influence our choices, both negative and positive. How so? Remember, sounds like energy and thoughts are ever changing. In other words, as a man thinketh, so is he. For example, Nipsey means homie in the native language spoken in Eritrea, birthplace of Nipsey's father. So sound tell us that Nipsey Hussle is the homie who hustle. As a matter of fact, Nipsey hustled so well that he became known as Nipsey Hussle. Just think. Hustle for a homie deal with the culture of street life. Good, bad, and that which is in between. Hustle could be positive or negative. It all depends on the thinking and the state of mind. For example, hustle may mean working hard, sacrificing, grinding, and being steadfast, doing something positive and achieve good. While hustle could mean lying, cheating, and getting things by illegal means or even killing, which is negative and not so good. Now think about the sounds Nip-C in the name Nip-C. Well, that sound Nip-C increased his ability to see beyond the negative effects of hustling in his environment. And right now I'm thinking about another meaning of nip, which means to catch hold of and squeeze tightly between 2 points. So being in tight squeezes is something that happens not just to homies in the hood, but happens to people every day. Yes, every day. We find ourselves in tight squeezes, dealing with relationships, time, space, or money. What it sounds in our name have the potential to take us from despair to triumph. And the same is true for sound in the name Nipsey Hussle. How so? His reaction to the sound determines the direction of his life. Think about it. The sound in the name Hustle can be sounded as 2 sounds. Let's sound it out. Huss and sell. What do you hear? You hear huss and the faint sound of sell. Huss is a German word for house, and sell can be sounded C-E-L-L, sell, and S-E-L-L, sell. Nipsey's response to the sounds house and sell in his name Hustle determined the direction of his life. What are the sounds saying? Do you hear the same sounds I hear? Well, let us sound it out. Nipsey had a choice between house sell, C-E-L-L, and house sell, S-E-L-L. A house of cells, C-E-L-L-S, is called a jail. And a house that sells, S-E-L-L-S, products or services is called a business. So what am I saying? I know it sounds strange. I'm saying Nipsey had a choice between jail and business based on the sound in his name. If he chose house sell, C-E-L-L, it helps us to better understand how Nipsey ended up in a house of jail cells with a family of homies packed in tight squeezes. And if he chose house sell, S-E-L-L, we can really appreciate how Nipsey started a business with his family members, choosing to sell t-shirts. As a matter of fact, he chose to do legal business. He chose not to sell illegal drugs. He chose to be truthful, honorable, and fair in his dealing with people. Yes, the choices that Nipsey made changed the direction of his life from despair to triumph. How? Just by changing his state of mind. Did we witness Nipsey changing his mind? Yes. Why? When he let go of Nipsey Hussle that landed him in jail cells, he took hold of the Nipsey Hussle business ownership that landed him thousands of CD sales. One thing for sure, he produced triumph in his life, aka victory lap. What happened? What about you? What about me? What about us? Our victory lap can happen too. When we change our minds from despair to triumph. Just a life lesson. It is truly amazing how names and sounds and names identifies us and describes us. Let's go a little deeper into the sounds in the name Nipsey Hussle. Believe it or not, his spirit is alive and the spirit of his ancestors is alive. The name Nipsey Hussle begins with the letters N-I and ends with the letters L-E. N-I-L-E sounds as Nile. It's a boy's name. In some languages it means champion, while others means brave, winner. When we look at Nipsey, did we see a champion that was brave? Did we see a winner who left us a victory lap and a life of honor that certainly inspires us? What have you been inspired to do? Because of the good example that Nipsey left for us. I know I've been inspired. I'm breaking down the name Nipsey Hussle and sharing my gift of reading names with humanity. Oh, wow. Let me calm down and let me continue. Hussle had the letters H-U-L, which have the same sound as H-U-L-L, and it sounded as Hull. I'm a descendant of slave ancestors who traveled to America in tight squeezes in the holds of slave ships. They came from Africa, also known as Asia to the original people. It is the home of the Nile, and I feel such a connection to Nipsey. Why? Just think, the Nile River flows through Africa, the birthplace of Nipsey's ancestors, my ancestors. As a matter of fact, the Nile is the name of the longest river on the planet. It is flowing water, and we are connected to the water of life, one root that is buried deep, deep, deep in the souls and DNA of original people. The Nile is an old, old river, and the land around it is fertile. Just think, the sound of Nile in Nipsey's name may have empowered him to turn his life from a life of drought to a life that was fruitful. And it even became more fruitful when he reached back and shared the fruits of his labor. He did not forget his roots. He helped his people in his neighborhood. A life lesson that should inspire us to do better and live the best part of ourselves. Nipsey's birth name is Ermias Ascadon. Ermias means God will rise. Yes, God will rise. God is rising. How do we know? Let us check out the sounds inside of Nile and sound it out slowly to see if we can find a clue. Sound it out slowly. Can you hear the sounds Na and L? N-I sounds as N-I-G-H. Nigh means near. And the letter L can be sounded as E-L, which is the Hebrew word for God. So Na-El contains the sounds Na, near, and El, God. Na-El, near God. That's good news. And when we live a life of honor, like Nip, always know that God is near to help us rise from despair to triumph. It's our time to wake up. God will rise. God is rising. And please share this good news with your friends and your family.